You are listening to the Mom Halo podcast. This sweet ear candy will serve up laughs and aha moments as we talk to best-in-class thought leaders. These folks are dropping gems of genius. I'm Alana Kayfetz, CEO and founder of the Mom Halo community. I'm a fun, fearless, freckled mom with 3 wild kiddos. I love to introduce you to ideas and people that will rock your world, all while laughing out loud, because that is the only way to get through the daily grind of parenthood. Plug in your earphones and let's get to them. We're recording today's podcast at the Collective Workspace in North York, voted one of the top 20 co-working and event spaces in Toronto by BlogTO for 2024. This gorgeous space is perfect for drop-in day passes, a long-term office suite with rentable boardrooms available on demand, and even an event space for your private and corporate event rentals. Check them out now at www.thecollectiveto.com or on Insta at The Collective TO and book a tour. Alrighty, welcome to...
I'm sorry, your podcast voice just killed me.
Why? It's my podcast voice.
I know, but I wasn't expecting it.
Welcome to...
Okay, I'm
that one?
Yeah, I'm in.
Welcome to the Mom Halo Show. I'm your host, Alana Kayfetz, and I am so excited because we are here in 2026, and this is the first episode of the season. Woo! And I think this is season, I want to say 6.
Amazing.
Yeah, I've been podcasting for a long time, but the podcast game has changed. And one of the things that has changed is video first. So I used to do video, but it wasn't something that I prioritized. We're going to be seeing some different videos throughout this podcast season, but we are also audio. So if you're listening on Spotify, if you're listening on Google, if you're listening wherever you download your podcast, I'm super excited to have you here.
Just making sure I'm on Do Not Disturb. We don't need a... ring-a-ding-ding.
Yes, I should do the same. And my friend Margot is in studio with us today.
Hello.
And I would be remiss to mention that we are sitting in the most beautiful environment ever. We are at the Collective Workplace here in Toronto, which is an amazing workplace and co-working location where they have everything from podcast to red light therapy, amazing event space. You can rent a desk, you can rent an office, and you can rent a room like we are right now.
It's actually pretty great. I just and I don't work here. I have nothing to do with hair. But you sort of walk around and it's done very well. So I will say that. Well,
it was built by architects and designers because that's who the primary client is. So
okay,
that's why
it shows.
It tracks. And okay, so a little bit of preamble. This is a podcast that I've been doing since podcasting since 2018. And this show is from 2022. And I just interview amazing people who have incredible stories, who are tastemakers, thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and it's my favorite thing in the world. So I'm so happy you're here. Everybody, let's give a warm Mom Halo welcome officially to Margot Grant Witz. Woo!
Hi, I'm really honored to be here. It's putting all the fluff aside. It's really so nice to be invited on to chat. I like you as a person. I've admired you as a businesswoman for many moons.
Thank you.
Many conversations, many messages.
Your eyes are so dreamy, Margot. I want to drop in them. I don't know because your brows are on, your glasses or something, but you I'm lapping up your eyeballs right now. You can see my soul.
I'm in.
Okay, Margot, I am also a huge fan of you, and it's just been an honor and privilege to get to know you, and I can't wait to see what's next for you. And what's tomorrow also, right? The near future and the far future.
Yeah.
So let's walk people through. Who are you? Where are you from? What you do? Take us through it.
Sure. I'm Margot Grant Witz. I am lovingly known as a living infomercial. And what I mean by that is I am the 3rd generation of Elizabeth Grant Skincare, meaning my grandmother is Elizabeth. She's celebrating her 103rd birthday coming up on January 27th. My mom, who's my grandmother's daughter-in-law, Marion, 73, and myself at 41. And collectively, for the past 78 years and counting, we have been making, manufacturing, formulating skincare here in Toronto, Canada, and ultimately helping to change the narrative around how specifically women, even though men can feel it too, how women over the age of 40 feel about the aging process.
Yeah, it's an incredible story. So I'll run you through if you don't know already. It is a public story, but Elizabeth Grant was had some shrapnel in her face after the Second World War.
Yeah.
And she was living in the UK at the time, in London.
Yes.
But originally from South Africa.
No.
Okay, she's from London. Yeah. Okay, that's the story that I got. She's from London. She has some shrapnel in her face, and she wants to heal her skin because she's feeling insecure about it, whatever it is.
She's a makeup artist at Elstree Studio.
Right.
She always felt like she couldn't make people feel pretty if she didn't look the part. And this is in the 40s. So this is an important differentiation about gender roles and gender identities and the part that women were meant to play. So she felt not just insecure and lack of confidence, she felt like she wouldn't be able to have the independence anymore because she wouldn't be able to continue her work. So all she wanted to do was fix her skin. All she wanted to do was go back to work and just continue with her life.
Yeah, so this is what she wanted, and she was looking for somebody to help heal her skin.
Yes.
And she was able to basically compound a formulation that she like self created. She basically compounded with a pharmacist, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
A compound to put on her skin and achieve the goal.
Yeah, so it's lovingly known as Jerusalem, which is our proprietary compound of vitamins, nutrients, minerals, amino acids, peptides that can help heal your skin. And I'm talking on all 5 levels of how your skin ages, if you have any damage to your skin, and most importantly, this was the first serum on the market ever in 1948 for at-home beauty use. The next serum that came out was in 1982 from another company. And so to have that over 40-year head start, it's the most magical, amazing ingredient that we put in every single one of our products, except for our perfumes. And it will help transform your skin to make it the best skin you've ever had in your life.
So I've been using EG for months, and I'm wearing Recharger right now. My day cream.
Perfect. The cellular recharge.
Cellular recharge, super day cream.
Yeah.
It's such a good product. I mean, there's the story and then there's the product, right? And I always say like I feel the story and I feel the love in every single jar, but like it's such an incredible product line, and the story is remarkable and the women behind it are remarkable. So, tell us a little bit about your thoughts. Margot is obviously very involved in the business, but she's a thought leader when it comes to, I want to call it a divine femininity. Like
Appreciate
this,
that.
yeah, it's an intersectionality where like you work in skincare, which on the face of it sounds superficial, but you're a deep mofo. So take us into some of the thoughts around like, what does skincare mean?
I think skincare means, so there's that routine you do. Okay. And the question is why you're doing that routine. And usually that answer is because I'm trying to fix something I don't love. And what I'm trying to fix is something that someone made me feel like I'm not meant to love. So the wrinkles, the crinkles, the sun damage, if you have a scar, if you have some, what I like to say, deflation of the tires, the breakdown of collagen of your skin. There's this whole concept that starts with something is broken. Something is wrong. Instead, why does something have to be wrong? If we have the ability to complain about aging, it's such a blessing. Because the opposite of complaining about aging is not being able to complain at all. And all of those moments, all of those things that you have, that insecurity that you've been made to feel, was put into you because you're meant to be the perfect essence of yourself. So those wrinkles and crinkles next to your eyes, laugh lines, they're smile lines, you smiled. Amazing. You had all those moments. You're in the moment, hypopigmentation. You're in the sun. Maybe you're running with your children. Maybe you're running with your mom. Maybe you're having an opportunity where you're just having that first moment of a driver's license and you're driving down and you're with the windows are open. It's all attached to a life moment. So instead of feeling like something is wrong, how do you embrace what a blessing aging is? So skincare is just the moment of making your skin feel better for you. So for example, a very silly example is a hand cream on a winter day. When your hands are dry and they're rough and they're raw and they're ouchy, and you put a hand cream on. Now, you wouldn't think, oh my goodness, like that is skincare, but it is. It's moments that you can just take to say, I like how I feel with this. I like how I feel in my skin. I can hold my head up a little taller. I can fulfill my armoire, my protection, my shields, whatever it is, to empower you to have the best day forward, even if it's a miserable day. Even if something happens, it's like, I don't want to give someone the opportunity to cut me down because of X. So that's what skincare means to me.
This is what I mean. Like, it's on the face of it, it's a compound discovered by your grandmother that people put on their face with a great product line that's iconic and, you know, famous around the world. But it is that, right? It's embracing who you are for who you are and not trying to fix it, but trying to make it a pleasant, wonderful experience.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things we can fix in life. There's so many things we can be critical in life. There's so many things that people around us can be critical for. But what Elizabeth Grant is and who Elizabeth Grant is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for all the people who work for us. And why I say that is 85% of our staff are women. The head of our R&D is a woman. It's leading the development so people have the space. We have some women, and a lot of the women who work with us, I'm an immigrant, I'm South African, we have a lot of immigrants, and they come and they become a breadwinner for their family. So they get this sense of confidence and independence and growth. And it's a safe place for people. And so when you look at what the brand is trying as best as we can just to make the individual feel more empowered with who they want to be, instead of being told about who they are or who they should be. And the biggest lesson my grandmother's always told us is you're going to get a hell of a lot of no's. And most of those no's are also going to come from yourself. But you just need that one yes. And that one yes is what keeps you going. It might not pan out to everything that you want. It might not be that overnight success. But it's that one foot in front of the other to say, what matters most to me, I'm going to continue.
I love that so much. And I love this story. Thinking about no's and yeses, can you take us back? I mean, you know, it's an incredible story because you are involved in this company that is a legacy company that's had multiple iterations.
Yeah.
And I know, you know, so much of what's been informed in EG skincare is a reflection of those multiple, you know, iterations of decades in business. Can you take us back to the early days? I love the story about the bank loan.
Oh, my mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us the story.
So my grandmother was moving to Canada from South Africa. Her husband passed away. We all lived here already. And my uncle, my father said, okay, Mom, come to Canada. And she shut down Elizabeth Grant in 92. And she came to Canada and she was a little bored. And she's like, what can I do? And my grandmother's always busy. And my mom was also wanting to do something different. She was working with my late father, but she wanted to find something for her own path and her own 2 feet. So she looked at my grandmother, her mother-in-law. And now that's a very special thing, to get on with your mother-in-law and to create a good friendship and to work together. That is the patience of 2 saints.
Your mother should write a book on that because that's a very, very rare relationship.
So she wrote about it in the opening of my grandmother's book. But my mom said to my grandmother, I want to relaunch Elizabeth Grant. And my grandmother was like, that's so cute. I'm in my 70s. I'm no longer going to knock on doors, because my grandmother would knock on doors and get everyone out. So I'm not really interested. And we were obsessed with the shopping channel at the time, because the shopping channel, as a South African, we're just like, this is wild. Like, you can buy off TV. And then all of a sudden it was just stagnant photos. Like stagnant photos, you can't see anything, but you could only hear voices. And one day overnight, it turned to live people. And my grandmother and mother called each other. Their phone calls almost canceled each other out and said, let's do it on the shopping channel. So they auditioned, but in order to audition, you had to have products. In order to have products, you had to have money to make products. So my mother went to every single bank here in Toronto, Canada, and every single bank did not believe in women entrepreneurs at that time in the 90s. And no bank would give her a loan, except for one. And that was RBC, and we're still with RBC today. And they gave my mother a $5,000 Canadian loan. Now, what can you do with $5,000? Not too much, but it was enough to be able to fulfill the products we needed for the first 4 30-minute shows where we sold out. And from that $5,000 loan, 27 years ago, give or take, my math is terrible, my husband's better than I am with it, we have grown into 124,000 square feet of private manufacturing that we privately own and operate. And manufacturing is the most expensive part of the products, where we are over $22 million business, where we stay true to who we are, where we're able to make fantastic products. But to see that everyone said no, and going back to my grandmother's lesson, where you're going to get a heck of a lot of no's. All you need is one yes. All my mother kept getting was no, 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 and RBC said, yeah, but we're going to give you 5,000. And my mom said, I'll take it. Let's go. Let's see what we can do. And it was the most phenomenal story for a lot of reasons. Did we get the start? Yes. Did we get the spark? Yes. But to hear that banks wouldn't give women loans in the 90s? This is something you think about from back in the day, because when my grandmother first started her business, she couldn't sign the bank loan. She couldn't have the credit card. She couldn't go to the bank. It was my grandpa, Sydney. My mom in 60s, 70s, South Africa couldn't get a credit card. My father had to sign for it. So to see that even in the 90s, where it's like women empowerment and look at all the women in business and Dolly Parton's 9 to 5, it was still a no. So it all goes back to the root of our company as well. How do we empower women to feel comfortable and confident and know their voice?
Yeah, no. You see why I love that story? It's such a good story. But there's so many good stories, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's what's so amazing about EG and the skincare line and the legacy that is, and the innovation of product, and like the Canadian story.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that, like the whole thing about being manufactured in Canada?
Yeah.
Because I know you know a lot about, obviously, global manufacturing. So give us, like, school us a bit about your expertise on manufacturing, because I think it's fascinating.
So the wild fact, and it's my favorite one, my absolute favorite one, because I have a lot of girlfriends and there's a lot of fancy stores, and those fancy stores have great sales. And they go, oh my goodness, what's in your basket? 90% of the world's skincare is made by a handful of manufacturers, and they just put different labels on different jars. And when you look at the ownership and you see the families of who owns everything, from the real fancy, like LVMH owns Sephora, right? So they have a hard stake in Sephora, and one of their brands is Dior. So their hard stake for Sephora is Dior. So if Dior is not doing well, they want to invest more in it, and they will remove a brand in their repertoire if it's harming that sale. So it's one of those things that when you see the domino of who actually owns everything, please stop wasting your money. Look at the ingredients. And if you want to waste your money, bless. You could do that. But don't get fooled by the pretty package. Don't get fooled by the marketing. Don't get fooled by the name. You know the saying, like, follow the money? Follow the names of manufacturing. And more than likely, the $120 eye cream is the same as the $400 eye cream, is the same as the $34 eye cream, is the same as the $8 eye cream. And it doesn't mean it's less than. It just means what's good for you to use. So, yeah.
Yeah. Knocked my socks off. I've been hanging out with Margot for a while, so I've been learning about these things, and that's why I love the storytelling that you share, because I don't think people really understand, right? They don't understand. It is the Wizard. Yes, it is who's behind the curtain. Yeah. And I think it's interesting because what you're sort of shedding light on every time we talk, and every time I try to we tell your story and the story of skincare, is people don't really get it. And I think partially it's because people come to skincare, or our generation, and I should say, are just coming to skincare, right? Like, it's not, we talked about Gen Xers, and sure. Right. And those Geners who are like, I wasn't 7 years old asking to go to Sephora the way my 7-year-old is asking to go to Sephora, and I'm telling her, hell no. So like, we're coming into skincare kind of when you kind of need skincare. You're like, oh, like my skin just looks different. I don't know what to do. So I think that's one of the realities is that people don't know. It's like just something that just appears in their life. I think it's having a moment given the advent of social media and people talking about the things, but I wasn't until my late 30s before I started putting anything on my face. So maybe I was late to the game, but it wasn't something that I grew up with or realized that I should be doing.
You did. And I guarantee you, and the reasons I know is because you used a body cream. You used a hand cream.
Right.
Your skin's your largest organ. People start to be more aware of their face, their neck, the back of their hands, because people have been told to be aware of their face and the neck and the back of the hands.
Right.
And age beautifully. They don't have anything. And women need age delicately.
Right.
But the whole thing is, and this goes off topic a little bit, and my apologies.
That's okay.
Is I have always found consumerism and capitalism that is so ingrained in culture of how you shop that you don't even notice. Like when you go to a store, and I'll think of some great fun stores in the States or in Canada, cheap and cheerful, 80% of the stuff to buy clothes are girls and women, and like 20% of boys. And you go in there, and without realizing it, it's pushing girls to be like, I'm going to shop. I like to shop. Look at all these pretty outfits I get to shop for and all these pretty purses. And I die to try to find something for my boys because there's like 1.5T somewhere in the back of the store. But the Sephora thing at the age of 7 is by no means a trend, but it is an opportunity. And so the opportunity is to make people be aware of it when they're younger. Like 25 right now, 20 to 25 is the largest consumer of Botox. Other than TMJ, what does a 25-year-old need Botox for? Right?
It's like staggering, right? It's really jaw-dropping when you think about it, because I didn't even come to Botox. Like Botox felt like a gateway to something that I was like, first of all, not allowed to have, or was not accessible to me, was for somebody else, but also I didn't really need it. And I am somebody who had very expressive lines my whole life. Great. So it's something I've been like, is this cool or is this not cool, right? Totally. And I've had like, I've straddled it, right? Like I've done the Botox, I haven't done the Botox. Yeah. I've wanted the Botox, I haven't done the Botox. I have done it, right? So it's definitely something where it's pervasive, right? It's funny, I was like, oh, do you think I like look younger? I'm like, I just look like everyone else my age who's done Botox, and the exact same, right? So it doesn't really even change like the perceived reality of what you think you're trying to do, which is chase, I don't know what, but
I always find it interesting. Why do you want to look younger? Like, what about younger?
Right.
Is the sentence that you're trying to answer?
It's funny. I think that for me specifically, but my mom community, is that there is a bit of a chase, right? There's sort of a value proposition that younger is better, or somehow younger is cooler, or
somehow I won't be traded in for a younger model by my partner, because all those things,
all those things. And I do think that there's a level for me of like a re-education about what is aging, right? Because I think part of the discourse is like aging is bad, or we should try to reverse it, and that like so much of the vanity industry is chasing this, like, I don't know, biohack, returning back time, right? So in some degree, I do think that there's a vanity moment where people are like chasing a younger version of themselves. Mm-hmm. And I don't know particularly why, but I do think because there's a nostalgia to some degree of like who you once were. Like, you know, the stupid saying, like the youth is wasted on the young, right? When I see pictures of myself when I was 16 and I thought I was so whatever, you know, chubby or unattractive, and I'm like, holy shit, I was a really good looking 16-year-old, but I'm like in my 40s saying that. And I'm sure in my 80s, I'll look back at my 40-year-old self and feel the same way. So I think just that's the discourse you sort of have to keep in mind. It's just being super present and being like, this is the body you're in, this is the skin you're in. So, but it's a really hard thing to sort of, I think,
because we've been bombarded,
right,
to not feel a certain way, right? We've been bombarded to say you have to be a certain size. Like my favorite is, if you're talking about sizing, the conversation between Diane von Furstenberg and the late Karl Lagerfeld about their model needs, right? There was a bunch of people in about 2006, I would say, in the fashion industry that would not allow models under a certain size on the runway. And then you look at the conversation of a 00. That means you're less than existence. 0 is you don't exist. 00 is you're less than that. And if that's your natural body, unbelievable, amazing. You be that beautiful giraffe that you are. But if you're someone else, what a great blessing it is that you can be healthy. And I think ultimately we're always trying to strive it. And talking about the Ozempic phase right now. Be careful of Ozempic, everyone. There's such a thing as Ozempic face. So if you're always wondering about how to look younger, just be careful about it. Because you want to be plump in 3 places, usually. Your face, your bust, and your tush. Because it keeps you youthful. Look at the Dutch. Great, cheekbones. My mom has the best full face because she's of Dutch origin. Unbelievable. But the thing is, when you're sitting there, and I remembered coming out, and you had that body positivity, and all these voluptuous, curvy, phenomenal women for 15 years or 10 years or whatever it is. And as soon as Ozempic happened, all of those voluptuous, bodacious, stand in your body, confident women have now gone to Ozempic. And the question is, why? What is the driving method of that delivery? What is that pressure? And you just said, we complain in our 40s and our 80s. The opposite of complaining is not being able to complain. And my late father used to say it all the time because he passed away of cancer. And he said, I will no longer complain about the weather because the opposite is I can't complain about the weather at all. And so it's the reality that I think people have to ground themselves in, that all the fluff is just fluff. It's just noise. But how you show up for yourself, how you look in the mirror, how you feel about it, the time you spend of where you cut your slice, where you're present is the most important. And I truly, genuinely believe for women, yes, for men too. I'm not denying the men who feel this way. But it's enough. Women have to stop self-sabotaging. Women have to stop crabbing in a bucket with each other. Women have to stop polluting their environment because their pollution of their environment, which is their mind and their voice, pollutes the next generation around them. And it's this vicious cycle that unless you stop it, you can't complain about it.
Back to the Ozempic piece for a minute, because I just think it's so fascinating. I agree entirely that I was always a little bit perplexed with the body positivity moment. I've existed in a larger body my whole life, so I live it. It is who I is. I'm not chasing thinness, but it is interesting, right? When you lived in a body like this and there is a beauty standard, there's something that makes you say, is this going to make me happier? Am I going to be happier if my goal weight? Am I going to be healthier? What's going to happen there? So I understand why somebody might, even somebody who's body positive, love my body, would be attracted to it. But I also think that even though the body positivity movement had such a profound impact, I don't think necessarily beauty standards changed, right? It wasn't all of a sudden people are not every single, double zeros. I've never even seen a double zero. I didn't even know they existed.
Oh, they sure
right?
do.
That's not where my genes are. So I never seen a double zero. I'm on the other end of the sizing. So when I think about those sorts of things, it's a light bulb goes off to me, somebody's a double zero. I didn't even know that sizing even was on planet Earth, right? Right. So I think, but what I'm trying
to stitch a double zero into your pants right now. There you go. You're a double zero.
I don't want to be double zero.
No, but what I'm saying is that it's all fabricated.
I understand. What I'm saying though is the beauty standard is the thing that I'm chasing on that conversation, because I think that's why the Amy Schumers of the world and the Lizzos of the world and the Meghan Trainor, whoever, Oprah, whatever it is, it's just too tempting, right? Because the actual beauty standard is just so
the actual
pervasive.
Beauty result is
say more.
The result is delicious. I get to be this point. I get to be this size. I get to fit this. And the question is why? Who are you impressing? Who needs to be impressed with it? Who needs to have all those things? But it doesn't change. My grandmother had a friend in the 30s who would do a tapeworm diet. So you would put a tapeworm in a pill and you would swallow it. And that was your diet. That was the Ozempic of the 30s. And she remembers specifically when they would go to the movie theater, how she would have to bring a pillow for her to sit on because she was so bony. Now, how do you get rid of a tapeworm? Surgery. Or it kills you. So it's not unique about beauty standards and beauty sizes and beauty chasing and what I'm meant to look like. And it's just, what a privilege that our bodies get to change. For women, our bodies go through a version of puberty every 4 years. And what a privilege. Your body will change. Your hips will get wider. When you're in your 80s, everything will go south for the winter. You know what I mean? Loose skin will happen. Everything that you're chasing today in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, if you're blessed enough to get to your 70s, 80s, and 90s, for the most part, a lot of stuff happens against your will. You're not eating as much, you're going to lose weight rapidly, and that leads to a different bout of health issues. But it's such a privilege to be able to have our genes change sizes. It is such a privilege because we have the food in our bellies to do it. It's such a privilege that we're able to say, at age 16, I was this size. Like, I've fluctuated weight my whole life. And I will constantly not look back to what was. I will just have different sizes of jeans in my cupboard. And luckily, we live in Toronto, and where Lululemons and sweatpants are.
Me and Margot have a whole thing about the two different Margos. The real Margot is a Lululemon girl.
I'm such a Lululemon girl.
Yeah.
You know?
You're athleisure for sure.
Hundo. No, only in Toronto.
Only in Toronto.
I could never
totally
do it
accessible.
in Montreal.
Yeah.
And when I lived in France, not a chance.
Uh-huh.
Like when I walked to school in France, what a runway. I always did.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. But here, you can be much more comfortable.
Yeah, no, it's true. Just checking.
Are we still
I'm
recording?
like making sure.
Is it still working?
I'm like, is the table shaking? We're also kind of like this, but it's okay. I'll edit it up. My editor will edit it. You look really good on camera, though.
Oh, thanks.
Tell me about the shopping channel. You've like grown up with the shopping channel.
I sure have.
I mean, it's a very visual platform.
It sure
and
is.
like, according to Gary Vaynerchuk, like live selling is going to have a reconnaissance. Like it's having a total renaissance.
Just leave it be.
There we go.
Yeah.
Talk to me about live selling. What's that like?
Great.
You love it?
Love it.
It's like everyone's talking about it. It's like not the future, but like in Asia right now, like every second people are selling and making millions of dollars by like literally billions. Like it's live selling is really all the rage.
Which has never transferred over to the North American market. What happens in China and Asia with the direct to consumer sales is it's so exciting, but it's never successfully gained legs here. Because if it gains legs here, it has to acknowledge a much bigger conversation, which is the collapse of retail spaces and things like that.
Right.
So, but live selling is amazing. It's, to me, the easiest thing in the world. It's a conversation.
Right.
No one is in the studio with me. It's just a camera. Am I talking to millions and millions and millions of homes?
Yeah.
Yeah. But am I genuinely encouraged and excited? And I love the platform because it's education for the product, but it's also education for the soul. And I think it's a really great opportunity that I use to have these types of frank conversations because it's so important. I always want to reframe the narrative about the aging process. I want people to feel great about who they are. Because this fades. But what's inside matters. And I hear about the stories of moms who reach out to me about their kids who have been bullied with acne. And that is a passion product for me. As soon as I hear it, I go, cool, I'll fix your kid's skin, no problem. And I will. You have an issue, I will solve it. You have an issue topically, I'm here to help you. And I will fix it, no problem. But how do I help you on your insides too? Because when your insides are fixed,
Yeah.
your outsides kind of go along with the flow.
Let's talk about the mom thing because you went there.
Yeah.
Tell me about motherhood for you, what that journey's been like. You have a couple of kids, and I know there's been moments.
I have 2 children.
Yeah.
First one was so easy. He was great. Except he was also medically complicated at 20 weeks. And the worst part was me and my husband, all of his best friends' wives all had kids at the same time. So we're all in a mom chat. Everyone's like, and I had to mute it because at the week 20 anatomy scan, we found out something was wrong with my son. And we went through 8 weeks of testing. and testing for things that I would never in my life ever even know of. And they say how to test it is the first week is the chapter of the book. The second session, so the next 3 weeks is a sentence in a book. And the third set of testings was one letter in an encyclopedia on a random page. And we had to hold our breath to find out if we were able to keep our son. Now, he has a genetic discrepancy of an exon 1 gene variance, which means a gene of unknown significance. He has some hand differences. But wow, are we so lucky? Because it could have been a hell of a lot worse. And in the grand scheme of things, we explained to him there's no such thing as can or can't, there's will or won't. And there's nothing that can hold him back except for him. Now, if he doesn't want to do something, we can explore the reason why. No reason he can't do something. Second kid. Oh boy, did I think it would be as easy as the first child. It was not. 2.5 years of trying, 2.5 years of IVF. And this kid is my blessing. And not that my first child isn't a blessing, but he was just the prayer that answered. And to see these two boys together, what a privilege. Like, what an honor. My job as a mom is to ensure I'm raising a great human. And I will knock my kid down a peg if he is behaving badly. Not physically, okay? Let me make that clear. But just because he's my son does not mean his poop doesn't stink. And he needs to know the world's bigger than him, both of them. The privileges are changed throughout the world. And being a good human gets you a lot further than just being a jerk. And especially because they're boys, I feel an innate sense of responsibility. Whoever they fall in love with, they fall in love with. But to the future women of the world for them. They will be queens in their life. That's it. And that it starts from a very young age.
Yeah, I mean, you and I obviously have that in common. Difference in kiddos. And I mean, I don't know, honestly, if I would have found out about Henry's genetic disorder when I was pregnant, like what that would have been like for my pregnancy. So that's one thing that was kind of the blessing of the whole thing is we had no idea.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was gobsmacked when we found out about his genetic abnormalities and, you know, the complex issue of Hin's syndrome, which is definitely not luck of the draw. But honestly, like sometimes I do think it's sort of this blindness of going into it with the unknown because I can't imagine what that was like for you, especially with your first kiddo.
But like it was, I didn't talk for 8 weeks. I didn't buy anything for 8 weeks. I didn't know if I had to not be able to carry this child for 8 weeks. And not by choice. The genetics, they were like, we're testing for 1 in 14 million, 1 in like 2.1 billion. Like, these are not issues that you would run. And when I did IVF and we did PGT testing, also, I found out a bunch of genetic issues. And it's a wild journey. But I will say something, and it's not to discredit any of the heaviness that you go through. That if you found out during pregnancy, I don't know how it would have changed your pregnancy. I think it would have been terrible for you because of the emotional stress. But who you have become to champion the platform of your son to the community, what you've done for children, what you've done for kids, what you've done for everyone, I think you probably would have spun out in your pregnancy and started earlier. I think the world is blessed because you are your children's mom. You have the ability that helped to shine some light in a very dark situation for people.
Oh, I'm going to cry. Oh, yeah. It was a hard one, man. Fuck. That was a story. Yeah, I mean, like it's crazy because I have other kids who are completely
normal.
Yeah. I mean, they're not sick, right? They're not chronically unwell.
Exactly.
And they're well. They're just well. And like, no parent comes into parenthood being like, oh, I'm going to have a disabled child. I'm going to have a sick kid. Yeah. And I orbit a planet where like we lost a kid in my kid's JK class on December 26th. A 6-year-old died, right? And since Henry's been alive and every social setting we've been in, I have peers where my chat group is, hey guys, our child has died. So that's like a weird thing that I don't talk about very often because it's a hard thing to talk about.
Of course
and,
it is.
nobody wants to think about their kid that way. And I know before I had Henry and people's narrative was about having a sick kid or a kid that would die or whatever, you don't want to see it.
You don't see it, you don't
want to think about it because you don't want to even like put that in your iota of your amygdala of like this could be a reality for you in any way. People don't want to think about it. So it's funny because I try to. Okay, so this is totally tangential, but after I had Henry and Henry had this like near death experience and I was like living and breathing sick kids, somebody who was really close to me at the time, I really trusted, said to me like, I know you're going through this, but do you want this to be your identity?
Yeah.
Right. And I had to have like a moment with myself being like, is this my identity? Is my entire identity wrapped up in this particular child? Because I have other children. I have other parts of my identity that matter to me. So I had to have like a conference with my CEOs of my business, my head, my heart, my soul, be like, who am I and what is this about? Right. And it's still a process. He's only 5 years old. Right. And I'm still like a mom, like anybody else, just trying to figure out motherhood. But I have this like a little bit of level of complexity, which I know you completely can relate to about like how much of this is definitive of who I am and who they are.
I think it's completely definitive of who you are. Not because it's your whole personality, but because it's a puzzle piece. And it's a piece of fabric and a piece of thread that's woven into who you are and who you got to grow into being.
Yeah, 100%. At the moment, it was too much of an idea to even comprehend because some of these med moms, which they're called, they say like literally on their bios, like 568 days in the hospital, like med mom, right? Like mom of 5, one with like rare genetic mutation, and it like says the mutation, right? So,
I'm just saying it doesn't have to be all of you.
100%. And that's where I think I've come to with this. And that's why sometimes it's a hard conversation to have, right? And
it shouldn't be.
Yeah. It's a hard conversation to have because I'm still figuring out how much I want to like share about it, right? And I remember when Henry has autism, which it's one of like a million things that he has, but like I realized I never like told anybody. It was something that I like underlined, and to me it was like almost like the most mild of all the things that I'm dealing with, but it really has shown its face like in a pretty major way recently. And I remember like on International Autism Day, I was like, I'm going to just tell people my kid has autism. People are like, your kid is autistic on time. I was like, oh yeah, this is like something that I should have probably shared sooner. So it's been an interesting moment to be like, how much do I reveal and how much don't I reveal? Because anyways, it's,
I think there's no wrong answer to that.
Yeah.
I think if you kept anything you wanted close to your chest, you have that right. I think in today's world and the platform of everything is shared.
Yes, I think there's like a green, yellow, and red, right? And my question, I'm always like, what is my red? And to be honest, after October 7th, after the massacre in Israel, I was feeling personal threats, and like my non-negotiable for like probably 18 months to 2 years was my kids were not on Instagram. Like I removed their faces, nobody saw them. And it wasn't until recently that my kids were like, Mom, we want to be on your Instagram. I was like, okay, I'll turn it back on. Like I felt like less of a threat, and people coming and be like, whoa, your kid like looks so different. They're so big and da-da-da. And it was the advent of AI. I'm like thinking about toggling off my kids again because it's a little scary. But yeah, it's one of a million parenting decisions we have to make, right?
Yeah.
What's been a parenting decision that's been like challenging or hard for you recently?
Oh, I don't have my kids online. It's not even
remotely. Yeah, I think you're like a very, very public person. So
I have a different identity, which is Margot Grant. And Margot Grant, I love my community, and it's a very, very close community in the sense of when people say with Elizabeth Grant, you're actually talking to me or you're talking to somebody on my team. It's very small. We don't outsource. And sometimes there's that connection because people have been in our lives for 27 years. So there's a part of ownership that sometimes people feel to our private life.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And I remember once I posted a photo of my dog, and they took the photo of my dog and made it their profile picture. And I love that for them.
Jerry? No,
Emmett. The late Emmett. The late great Emmett. And like people would repost my wedding photo with my grandmother and me. And I want my kids to always have the luxury of choice.
Right.
Even though there's the illusion of choice, they deserve a luxury of making a choice.
Yeah.
And AI is terrifying for children.
Yeah. It is.
It's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
So when he's better equipped, he can make that. They can both make that conversation.
Yeah. How old's Aiden? 5?
Perry's 5.5.
Oh, 5. Yeah, Perry's 5.
And Aiden is 17 months.
Okay, right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those 2020 kids, man.
It was honestly as horrendous as it was, because it was also amazing. And
I agree.
I spent so much time with P. And like, I don't spend that much time, the same amount of time with Aiden.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It was horrendous. I will never wish 2020 or the years that followed on anyone.
Yeah.
But the blessing of that time, it's always what you're chasing.
Yeah. You have this amazing ability to just put that lens on everything.
No one likes misery.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing is people go, "How are you?" I go, "Great," other than all the things that are a problem that no one wants to hear about.
Right.
Everybody has their stuff.
True.
Everybody has different layers of stuff. And my grandmother says, "You're not getting out of life. Don't be a misery." No one likes misery. Right? And not everything has to be perfect. Not everything has to be shiny. You're allowed to sit in things.
You're allowed to be vulnerable.
Yeah, and you're allowed to, I was just a neighbor. I was talking to my neighbor. She was sad that I was moving. And I was like, "It's okay. I actually like you as a human being." And she's like, "Just let me have my feelings." And I was like, "Okay, you can have your feelings."
Yeah.
We always want to fix.
I love that. Margot, you're so a woman of depth and character. We could keep going. I know you have like lots of cool things coming up with the business, with yourself. Is there anything you want to share? Anything we didn't cover that you want to touch on? Anything you want people to remember if they remember nothing else? This is a very meaty podcast, so there's a lot there. It can be, we can call back to something you've already discussed also, because you really did touch some of your like sort of fight song ideas.
I think ultimately in terms of business, I'm really excited for what's upcoming. I'm excited for growth and streamlining. I'm excited for opportunities. I'm excited for moving forward. I'm hoping that the landscape is always as healthy and steady and grow fast as possible. On the side of personal and the moment I want everyone to sort of put in their soul is, if not you, then who? And if you're not going to be nice to yourself, if you're not going to change your language, if you're not going to try your best, then who else is? And if you can help to reframe your conversation, because it's like a muscle, it's a weak muscle.
Yeah.
You've been so much of like, "Ugh, I shouldn't have eaten that. Ugh, I'm this. Ugh, I'm that." Try to change that narrative, because the pollution of the world around you feeds on it. And that's that whole experiment of like the words you put into water and how it changes the crystallization of the water from negative words to positive words. Just try to be kinder to yourself.
I love that.
And by being kinder to yourself, that does not mean being perfect. That does not mean like, "Oh my God, everything's great, and Betty Crocker and all this and blah, blah, blah."
Betty Crocker.
Yeah, you can be flawed.
Yeah.
You can make mistakes, and you can dust yourself off and try again, because women deserve to do it. And my last thing is, please stop being a crab in a bucket.
Yeah. Explain the analogy, because I love it.
And if you've ever seen crabs in a bucket, they don't fall out of the bucket, because as soon as a crab gets over the top, another crab will pull it down. And I find women are crabs in buckets. They will always pull another woman down. Whether they need to be, quote unquote, more aggressive versus assertive, whether they have to have a competition with the person around them, whether it's, "This is great, but." Try not to be a crab in a bucket. Try to do the hard thing about having direct conversations with someone if something's bothering you, or if something inspires you, or if something makes you feel icky. Try to have that conversation. And if you are on social media and you're not having the ability to like reach out to Alana at Mom Halo and she doesn't reply to you.
Ouch.
That's a different story. I chased her for 5 years. Then change who's on your feed. Change what's around you to change your mindset, because it's so important. It's important for you. It's important for your children. It's important for your work. It's important for everyone around you.
Yeah.
Just try. Doesn't mean you're perfect. Doesn't mean you're not going to have bad days or bad moments. Just try to be better for yourself. And ultimately, it will be better for the world around you.
Ugh. Margot Grant Witz, everybody. Woo!
Hi,
That was so nice.
Awesome.
It's so nice to talk to you this way today. I talk to you all the time, but this is very nice. I love everything you're about. I love what you stand for. I love the kishkas. I love the meat and potatoes of what's in your soul, and that's why I will continue to support you any way I can. I also love the product, and I love what's in the bottle. I do. And if you're in our demographic and you're basically 31 to 55 and you have not yet tried this product,
do it. It's great.
It's a great product, great price point, huge SKU. You can direct to consumer we'll put everything in the show notes where you can buy it, etc. But like, it's great product. It's great product. You're a great person. And the story, it's female founded. It's Canadian owned. It's Canadian made. It's literally up the street where they make it. And a lot of people make stuff there that you wouldn't even know who makes stuff there. They white label through you. So you're the bomb.com, and the product it's reflected in the jars, like everything, the ethos.
I appreciate that. And I always just say, at the end of the day, hey, where you are now is a blessing of where you prayed to be. So don't get so caught up with the distraction of your next prayer that you forget the blessing of where you work so hard to become.
I love that. Thanks, Margot.
No, thanks.
Your eyes, I want to jump into them.
You can.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks to the collective for hosting us. Bye. Toodles.
Toodaloo.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode of the Mom Halo podcast, I'd love your support by sharing it with others, posting about us on social, or leaving a really good rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram at the Mom Halo. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.
Quick note for parents listening in Toronto and Montreal. This one's for you. Whether daycare closes, your kid gets sick, your babysitter cancels, or you just need a break, want to go out or take some time for yourself, you need to know about Swaddle. Swaddle is an on-demand childcare app that instantly matches families with triple-vetted babysitters, night nurses, and tutors. From last-minute care, even just 3 hours before, to bookings up to 6 weeks in advance. Every caregiver is background checked, CPR certified, and experienced, so you can actually relax. Swaddle is available now in Toronto and Montreal. Download the Swaddle app, and for a little bonus, DM at swaddle.info, on the web at swaddle.info, on Instagram with the code MOMHALO to get a $10 credit.